This was one of those books that had such a cool and unique premise that I was just not really sure how I was going to feel about it, but I was really curious to try, and I'm glad I did. Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to be talking about Whisper by K. Ross, and man, I love this cover, and every time I look at this, I'm like, I need to get me a physical copy of this book. But this was actually a review copy that was sent to me by the author K. Ross, and as I alluded to, this has a really interesting premise because our POV is from the perspective of basically a self-aware curse. As it's learning about the world and moving between different bodies and people and that kind of thing, and that's how we're kind of informing it, and then we're finding out more as it interacts. And that's the kind of the premise that I feel like it could go either way. That's something that I feel like is a little hard to do, and if it works, it really works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And for me, this really worked. I had a lot of fun with this. This is kind of a book that I think does a good job. And sometimes when I talk about towing the line tonally, that can also be something that's hard to do, because if you're a little bit too far on either side or it's not balanced, it doesn't necessarily work the best. This worked really well because this had some of those just like, oh, cute, cozy, fun type of moments. It had some of the humor of the curse learning about things and not knowing any better and just repeating things that people it's interacted with said. Like, there's a joke where there's this older woman who's always talking about how the worst things are ex-husbands, and so the curse doesn't know what an ex-husband is, but thinks that must be really, really bad and scary. And so just there's some fun moments like that as well. But then it also has quite a lot of depth and heart to it as well, as we learn about our characters, the characters who some of them have some pretty brutal backstory and a lot of things that have happened, and just the whole nature of the curses as well, where normally if there is a curse and it inhabits somebody in the kingdom that this takes place, and they immediately other like mages will go and try to destroy the curse, kill the curse, and kill anyone it's come into contact with, because the nature of curses is that they can move between different people and usually violently rip them apart. So again, it kind of has that mix, and I think the balance is just spot on for me, because this is it's cute, fun, and enjoyable, but it also doesn't feel like it's too basic or like it's just like because I'm not the biggest one for like the cute, cozy type of books. That's not something that really appeals to me, and so that was, I thought it was going to go more that direction, but it really didn't. And I read this. This was this actually was the last book I finished at the end of the year, when I was just kind of looking for something light and enjoyable, and I think it did a really good job with those elements. And I do I talked about the sort of the humor, fish out of water humor, whatever you want to say. This is more like Discovery, but where you have a POV, the character, whatever, that doesn't understand things. That's the type of humor that I've noticed really, really works for me for whatever reason. Whenever you have that in something, whether it's books or TV shows, movies, for some reason that really works for me. So the bit of that we had, I thought was really fun as well. And you get quite a lot of world building and just this interesting world that's set up here as well, with these different warring nations, and they all have different types of magic, and they all have different languages, and language and magic is all tied in. And then there's the bigger plot, and the reason we have for the cover with that tree is because in this particular kingdom, there was a spell put on by another nation, basically, that locks all of their extra like ambient magic into that tree. So as the people who have the magic die, if they don't pass along their magic, it just is gone, because all of the ambient magic that normally would be springing up is trapped in this tree. So there's a lot going on here, but this is also a pretty short book that's very quickly paced and is moving very quickly. Now, if anything, my one kind of complaint as far as that is there are times where we feel a little bit rushed. But again, I think the author does a really good job of making you feel a sense of urgency, so you're not really questioning why we're just go, 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 moving so fast. There are definitely some things that aren't really explained that much, despite the fact that you get quite a lot of the world building and the explanations as you go, which is also, I like that sort of style, where instead of just stopping and learning, we literally, the premise of this means you have a POV that doesn't really know much of anything and is kind of learning things. And so it's really easy to, as you go, put that in, and as long as you do a good job with it and don't make it feel info dumpy, which again I think the author did, it turns out really well. So this was just a lot of fun. Again, the cover's beautiful. There were some just really, really nice passages of writing in there too. It's not something that's like difficult to read or like overly elevated or anything, but just some of the descriptions I thought were just done really well. And there's just some moments where there's these just really nice lines where it's the curse talking, saying something in an interesting way. So for me, I really had a good time with this one. It's not something that like blew me away and like I was amazed with, but a really enjoyable book that I liked a lot of the aspects of. And I'd be really curious because this is I think the first of a series potentially. So I'd be really curious to see what more will be done with this, because really interesting concept, like I said, very well executed, very well written, and one that I really didn't have a lot of complaints with. So I think it's definitely one that is worth checking out if any of that sounded appealing to you. Though those are really my thoughts on Whisper by K. Ross. I'm gonna put the cover up one more time because I can't stress enough. It's just, this is really beautiful. It's a simple cover, but the feeling with the tree and like just the nature and like the stars flashing and the font, everything, like really nice cover, really well done. It's just immediately I saw the cover and I was really curious, even though I wasn't sure on content if it was gonna work. But yeah, so definitely one worth checking out. So check it out too. I think this one might have been on Kindle Unlimited when I checked. I always try to check to make sure. I think this one was, but definitely worth checking out this one. And yeah, let me know your thoughts if you read this, or if there's anything like kind of like unique that otherwise that you know of that I should check out as well. Definitely let me know. That's it for this one though. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the links in the description as always for the Patreon if you want to support what I do, as well as the Wizardly Enclave Discord if you want to chat books, whether this book, other books, really anything at all. It is a lot of fun and we'd love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.